Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Great to have you with us. I'm Jane McCarthy. He was stranded outdoors for 3 days without food or water. But tonight, the North Idaho man is recovering in the hospital.
Crews set out on foot and in the air to find him, but in the end, it was his own brother who found him not far from his home near Silverwood.
As KREM 2's Taylor Vito explains, the man was in surprisingly good spirits.
That ATV rider was found reportedly just 300 yards from his home in this wooded area to the south of Silverwood. Now, despite search and rescue crews and even a helicopter getting in on this search, it would ultimately be the man's brother who'd find him.
And I saw one set of tracks and only one set of quad tracks going through the tall grass.
A lucky break that would prove essential for Butch Coates. The 66-year-old man went out riding last Thursday on his ATV, but got lost. His brother Paul came over from Western Washington to help with the search. And when he found Butch, well, what a reunion it was.
I go, holy crap, you're alive. He goes, yeah, I thought you'd be the one to find me. Have you got a cigarette? That was his first words.
Butch had crashed his ATV and was pinned against a tree. He had been there for close to 3 days with no water or food.
He was thirsty, he was hungry, and he was hurting.
His brother says the only water Butch was able to drink was from a downpour over the weekend. Remarkably, Butch is recovering at the hospital. He broke his hip and was dehydrated. Butch's brother says this was the area where they found him, just to the east of Pope Road and Highway 95, in an area south of Silverwood. Butch was just 300 yards from his home.
And to the right, saw what looked like a big screen TV somebody had thrown out there and drove up to it slowly, and it was the bottom of my brother's squad, and he was laying underneath there.
The brother is very complimentary of Kootenai County search and rescue crews. They're professional, he says. But while they searched other areas, he focused on the woods near Butch's home. He had been known to ride there.
Very professional people you have in that county.
Coates and his wife asked for privacy today, but in a statement offered their thanks for authorities, search crews, and their neighbors for aiding in the search efforts. In Kootenai County, Taylor Vito, KREM 2 News.
Glad he's okay there. Meantime, weather-wise, weekend thunderstorms brought hail, heavy rain, and lightning strikes all across the inland northwest. Some cities in eastern Washington saw nearly 4 inches of rain in just 48 hours.
Colbert picked up the most rain, measuring 3.9 inches. Newman Lake saw 3.5 inches. Spokane did not see that much rain, less than half an inch for the entire weekend, but we did break the precipitation record on Sunday.
And a few leftover showers are moving out of Boundary County now. But other than that, the inland northwest will see mostly sunny skies through the rest of the week.
Let's get straight to meteorologist Tom Sherry in the Weather Center with more on what we can expect for the rest of the week, Tom.
Yeah, this time last week, we were not only dealing with the heat, but also very poor air quality. Well, right now, the air quality is good, and you can thank the weekend rains for that, knocking all of the smoke out of the sky and doing a good job of dampening the fires that are burning in Idaho as well as in Ferry County. 74 degrees right now. The winds are calm and the sky looks very clear, except for those cumulus clouds out there. You take a look at the satellite and radar picture. Not much activity occurring across Washington and Idaho. Over the next 12 hours, we'll look for partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Overnight lows dropping down into the mid-50s. Open up the windows. Let Mother Nature cool you off tonight. 53 will be the low, and then we're right up to about 83 tomorrow. Should be a beautiful Tuesday. Lots of sunshine. We'll continue with this mild summer weather for the remainder of the week, and then for the weekend I've got 80 on Saturday, 83 on Sunday under partly cloudy skies. Slight chance of showers on Friday. We'll talk more about that with your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. And even with the rain we saw over the weekend, there are still some wildfires burning in our region.
The biggest wildfire is burning nearly 45,000 acres on the Colville Reservation. Crews say lightning sparked the Williams Flats fire last week. Flash floods over the weekend washed out many roads in that area, and now fire crews are working to repair the roads so they can access the fire. At last check, it is 45% contained and expected to be fully contained by Friday.
And there are still evacuation notices people in the area need to know about. Level 3 evacuations are issued for areas south of Four Corners. Campers staying near the shoreline of Lake Roosevelt along 9 Mile Hellgate Road are also under Level 3 evacuations. Level 3 meaning leave now. Level 1 evacuations are issued for people in the Goat Ranch Hellgate area, areas of South Wilmot Creek, including part of 9 Mile Frosty Meadows Road and Silver Creek Road. They are also under Level 1 evacuations, which means be aware of the situation.
The North Creek fire in Colville is a little more than 400 acres in size. It is burning on U.S. Forest Service land in Stevens County. about 2 hours away from the Williams Flats fire. As of right now, it is 70% contained. Today, crews are working to cut down damaged trees near roads, and they are also watching for hot spots. No evacuations are issued at this time.
Fire crews in Cataldo say the CCC fire did not grow in size over the weekend. It's burning more than 500 acres. It is 50% contained now. Multiple roads are closed, but there are no evacuation orders right now. However, the fire is threatening one home.
And an important reminder from the Department of Natural Resources tonight as we move further into wildfire season. If you see smoke in your area or think there is an active fire burning, do not be afraid to call 911.
Yeah, they need those calls. DNR leaders say they would rather check out false alarms or respond to the same incident multiple times than have a fire just go unreported.
Here is some good news. Spokane's air quality, as Tom mentioned, back in the good range. Same goes for Coeur d'Alene and for Sandpoint.
In other news, several dogs in Atlanta and North Carolina died over the weekend. They were exposed to toxic algae in the water. Now experts want to remind owners of the dangers before it's too late.
Blue-green algae is a type of bacteria that spreads in a body of water. It is most common in ponds and lakes. Experts say you will not usually see it in rivers, but you should still check before you let your dog get in the water.
There are certain types of algae that are not toxic, but it's hard to tell between the two. Veterinarians say it's best to keep them out of swimming altogether just to be safe. There is no known antidote for the toxin, so if your dog is exposed to blue-green algae, your best bet is to rush them to an emergency clinic so veterinarians can just flush their system.
My goodness. In other news, a family visiting Cannon Beach, Oregon from Salt Lake City survived a scary situation when a large tree came crashing down on their campsite.
We were actually totally asleep, and then I felt the car shaking and bouncing all over.
I thought that our van had rolled off an embankment.
I thought somebody was outside the car, pranking us or something.
Well, it was no prank. The tree landed on top of the family's van where a mom and dad were sleeping. The kids were sleeping in a tent about 5 feet away. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
Well, Spokane City Council is considering a $100,000 investment into an old bank building in the east downtown area of Spokane.
That project would repurpose the building into 6 stories of apartments, restaurants, and retail space. KREM 2's Shayna Waldtower joins us live in the studio tonight with more on what this project could bring to the area. Shayna?
Yeah, thanks, Mark and Jane. Some pretty nice views is what this project could bring. It would be called Riverside Commons. City documents say the building would be taller than many buildings in the area and give an overlook of the surrounding city. The development would include 104 apartment units with 7,200 square feet of restaurant and retail space. It's on the northwest corner of Brown Street and Riverside Avenue. City documents say this building would be one of the first ground-up mixed-use buildings developed in the area in several years. City Council would essentially give developers more than $106,000 to invest in the project. Here are some diagrams of what this would look like. Documents say this project is an effort to create more economic growth and jobs in the area. The project would qualify for about $1.3 million in city incentives, including exemptions on some taxes. Since it is in the East Downtown Historic District, the project will need to be reviewed by the Historic Landmarks Commission. City documents say the investment has already been approved in this year's budget, but the City Council will be discussing approval of that project tonight, and I'll be there for that council meeting to bring you more on that. In studio, Shayna Waldtower. I'll send things back to you guys.